Thanks for tuning in into episode number 5. Now, before we get into the topics, if you are watching a YouTube version of the podcast on youtube.com/respectfully speaking, know this show is also available on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and all other major platforms. My name is James, and I'm here with my two co-hosts today, Jason and Malcolm, and we have a lot of topics to get through from Marvel, Zelda's live action announcement, and even the popular Scream franchise is apparently going through another reboot. So, since there's so many topics to cover, if there's a specific topic you'd like to hear first, I'll have the timestamps listed on the YouTube version and the audio version. Now, without further ado, let's get into the first major points, which is about Marvel's Kang Dynasty. Now, we know when Marvel first announced their multiverse saga, they announced that Kang was essentially going to be the big bad, and two Avengers movies for this particular saga is Avengers Kang Dynasty, and then Avengers Secret Wars. And the report came out that the original writer, which was the writer also from Ant-Man Quantumania, was dropped from writing the Avengers Kang Dynasty. Apparently, the reason why they were dropped was because Marvel didn't really like the Kang storyline that he was really going for. So they dropped him. They also took away the director for Kang Dynasty. Now, mind you, the director for Kang Dynasty was the same director for Shang-Chi that Malcolm really loves and Jason really loves. And I kind of sort of thought it was okay. But it's not because they didn't necessarily like him. They just think they want him to put more, the director, I mean, they wanted the director to put more focus on the other Marvel projects that he has coming out, which is Marvel's Wonder Man, which is coming out on Disney Plus series that's starred by, if you guys care, Aquaman 1's villain, Black Manta. That actor is also going to be starring as Wonder Man for the Disney Plus series. So that's what this director is going to handle his focus on for the time being. And what's very interesting while reading this article is that in the same article, they pretty much confirmed Marvel is going to do something called Marvel Spotlight, which is think of Marvel but Elseworld stories that's not connected to MCU anymore. And so Wonder Man will be one of the first projects that will be released under Marvel Spotlight, which means it'll be Elseworld, not contained in MCU, and stuff like that. Now, if you're watching this, you're probably wondering, well, then what's gonna happen with King Dynasty? Like what is actually happening now with the saga? Don't worry. Marvel sat back and they watched Loki season 1 and was like, yo, we should hire the showrunner and the writer of Loki season 1 to write both Avengers King Dynasty and also Avengers Secret Wars. So right now he's penning both of the scripts at this moment. Hopefully they get it done because I think they're thinking about releasing them like in 2026, I believe. So with all that being said, about there's now no directors now for Secret Wars and King Dynasty at the moment. We have the Loki season 1 writer now writing both King Dynasty and Secret Wars. So with all that being said, I'm gonna start with you, Malcolm. What are your thoughts so far about these major changes? What do you expect to see now? I don't know if you saw Loki season 1. I don't know if you want to give your thoughts on it and how it might translate to this new movie.
You didn't know if I saw Loki season 1. I saw Loki season 1 and 2.
Oh,
I
there you go.
think they
Nice.
are combined the best Marvel project they've done in probably since Endgame and Infinity War, over No Way Home, over Black Panther 2, and every other mid to okay movie they've made since then.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is a good idea because honestly, these shows both these seasons did a really good job of telling a story in a way that the other Marvel shows didn't really grasp. At least not for me. I don't know. Well, I heard feedback, and like seems like each show that they keep putting out gets worse and worse for audiences. But for
Yeah.
Loki, it was kind of a breath of fresh air because it seemed like they had an idea of what they wanted, and they were just trying to tell a story with characters instead of trying to like fit something into like an already established timeline and established like characters, and they try to change dynamics and She-Hulk, and I don't want to talk about it, but
Yeah.
Loki, I think that getting the director and getting the people like involved with that show is probably the best idea they've had in a while. um Jason, did you see Loki season 2? Oh,
Did
okay.
you see
I think
season
it's better
1?
than the first one. He did see the first one.
Okay, you did see the first
Um,
season. Okay.
yeah, James can vouch for that, right? Second season's
Yeah.
better than the first season. They somehow improved
100%.
on the already good first season.
They took what worked in season 1 and then just expanded so much on it.
Mm-hmm.
Loved it.
And it made it work.
Yes,
And what's crazy is Loki season one was so popular that Marvel immediately went back on what they said about the Disney shows being supplementary,
Yes.
exactly,
and they started becoming
exactly.
necessary. But then the
Hmm.
shows became necessarily crap.
Yeah, yeah. So that's pretty much how it is. I think Loki season two. I think that you have the writer for Loki season one and the showrunner. Because showrunner means that he thought this whole thing out of how Loki's arc was going to happen for both seasons. So it makes sense for them to have him write both of the films, so that way there is some type of. It feels like King Dynasty is going to be like a part one, and Secret Wars will be a part two type of flick.
I-
Now,
And
Jason,
because they,
go ahead, Mom.
well, actually cutting you off, because they have already dealt with having two parts, because Loki season one is just a part one. It honestly, I don't even want to call it season one, season two. It's just like the first half of an entire
Yeah,
series.
that's what he
And I
said too.
think
Yeah.
because they
Mhm.
have experience of setting that up and then waiting a couple years and not deviating from that, I think it'll make these next two movies seem more cohesive than where before I was kind of worried that they would just like be all over the place and scattered and not make sense by the time like we finish everything.
Right. Right. Okay. What do you think, Jason?
Honestly, I'm honestly kind of like just saying like, man, whatever y'all do is whatever y'all do. Just because there's been so much issues with the Quantum Mania like kickoff to begin with, everything from just like a failed execution on the end part to just it seems like a very obvious pivot. I know we might get into this later, from away from Kang to other people. I do think it's a good idea to like switch up and do a fresh start because again, people are kind of irritated with the fact that Marvel has been a cut, rinse, repeat cycle of television for like 3 years straight now. I know
Yeah.
it started before then, but it's been almost a good 3 years since it's been obvious. And even then, people's graces run out because, again, people are kind of riding off the coattails of what they enjoyed in the past. And obviously, people say they want different and then they don't want different. But this time, I think people do want different. But I think people need to have open minds about it because, again, like people are already kind of burnt out and spent. For better or for
Yeah.
worse, all the delays probably would actually help more than hurt in terms of all the delays that have happened with these movies.
That's what it seems like. It seems like with a lot of these delays, you kind of get the sense that because you see Marvel shuffling a lot of their movies that even happen like later on in the coming years, which we'll get to that later. But I do think that when it comes to Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, I think having a setting up as a part one, but a satisfying part one, like almost like Loki season one, how it kind of has its own conclusive story where you don't need to necessarily watch season two. If you was just a casual person, you just want to watch good television, you can just watch season one and you can walk away and be kind of sort of satisfied with it. So hopefully this guy can do it. Now this guy was the same person who wrote Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Now I don't know if that is good or bad per se, depending on the person. I thought it had a lot of great concepts and elements. Jason enjoyed it, which is great. It had a lot of interesting elements and concepts to it. So I feel like, hey, I'm someone where let's see what you give me. Tell me the story, and then we'll see where it goes. So, with all that being said, the next thing that was happening with Marvel is they are actually now the time of this recording is right before Christmas, so like December 16th. So we have reports that Marvel What If season two is coming out, and it's coming out this month, starting on Friday, December 22. And they're going to release one new episode every day for 9 consecutive days leading into the new year. And they actually released a screenshot of like episode titles that they're thinking of releasing. Not thinking of releasing, but like that's going to be released. Now you can see that they have 9 episodes about different what ifs. It seems like they wanted to focus more so on what ifs that's been set in MCU than what ifs of just overall Marvel comic history, which, eh. Now, the reception for most people in the audience, I said audience, that's fans of the MCU, they're kind of not liking this schedule release because it feels like a lot of the episode titles that they believe is kind of boring essentially, and I kind of have to agree with them. Like, I mean, who cares about episode three where it says, "What if Happy Hogan saved Christmas?" I don't think anyone necessarily cares about that type of stuff. I think the only episodes that I might actually like is Avengers Assembled in 1602. I'm like, dang, even before the first slaves, ooh, what's gonna happen there? You know what I mean? Are they gonna touch on that? Probably not. Or Strange Supreme has intervened. Those are the only two episode titles where I'm like, Okay, you got my attention. But all the other ones, like, I don't really care as much. But what do you guys think? Let's start with Jason.
My first thoughts is like, man, you really give me with the Kwanzaa, 12 Days of Christmas kind of vibe. Like, let's get it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, this is your Christmas gift. Um, I personally have an open mind. I don't know if they're gonna pull it off. I know that there's a lot more free reign with the what ifs, just because they are by nature open ended, and so like,
Right.
I think we have like a chance for them to really break free of a lot of the constraints of maintaining a really broad continuity, like they have been with like all the other MCU stuff. Um, we'll see. I mean, Thanos versus Captain America. I
Yeah.
personally don't care that much to see that.
I think
When
I
we
think
have
it's a. Go ahead.
no, you got it.
I would say I think it's an interesting concept. I think it's nice that they're releasing it like every day for 9 days. I think that's nice to fit into the holiday cheer because you know how people have the
Oh,
12 days of Christmas. That's cool. But I wish they I don't know if you guys ever watched it. It's on Disney Plus. It's not talked about a lot, but I think it was very interesting how Star Wars did it. They had something called Star Wars Visions that was released as like its own season, but it was same thing as What If, but it's like anthology series. But each episode is its own What If, but it's given to different independent animated studios. So the art style could be vastly different. You get one that's similar to Studio Ghibli, one is similar to Chinese anime, one similar to just American animation, and just it's its own 30-minute pocket of their own What If story. And I wish Marvel kind of did that with their What If a little bit as well. But what do you think, Malcolm? My fault,
No,
Jason.
Jason, go. You sound like you got more.
nah,
Right?
I feel like that would be wildly expensive, and implementation would be a nightmare. I think that only
Probably
happened well because they planned on it. I don't think
planned
Marvel
in.
has the
Yeah,
bandwidth for that
it's
practically.
actually
Although I
planned.
think that might be cool. I don't mind like diverse storytelling in that way. Again, like
Yeah, I know.
Malcolm.
I misspoke earlier when I said Loki season 1 and 2 is the best Marvel project. Oh, I still think it is, but I actually feel like I'm one of the few people who really, really, really enjoyed What If season 1.
Oh,
I
really?
don't know why, but like I first went into it and I was like, oh, this concept's okay. Like I'm just open minded, see what they're gonna do. And like as it went on, like I think I enjoyed something different. Like I feel like we as fans keep saying, "Oh, we want something different now. Like we're tired of the same old MCU." At least to me, it felt just a little bit different to where I'm like, "Okay, this is not what I was expecting." Like animated Thanos, I don't know if y'all remember that one scene where he was
I
like
remember that
making
one.
jokes
Yeah,
about like destroying half
yeah,
the universe, and I was just
yeah,
like if this is like something I can enjoy by like sit back and just like watch and not have to feel like I'm totally invested in like a 30 movie saga and have to try to remember everything. Like this is just something I can enjoy the concept of comic book heroes, but not try to
mm,
analyze every single second and every single scene. And it kind of just reminded me of watching like Saturday morning cartoons. But I think my favorite part was when they found a way to tie it all in together because I was not expecting that. I was expecting each
oh yeah, the
episode to
final
be its own
episode.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hmm
like it was just like their own thing and whatever. And then like as the season went on and towards the end of it, like they found a way to tie it all together. I really enjoyed that concept. I really enjoyed how they worked it in. Some of the stories were pretty interesting for me. I'm just going in with an open mind of like I'm not expecting this to be peak fiction. This is not like the greatest story ever told, but like it's just fun like questions that you ask. I love to ask random questions of like what happens if this happened? What would this person do or what would this scenario like how would this play out?
yeah.
And the fact that Marvel is willing to do this in an animated form in a anthology series is something I didn't think I would enjoy at first, but now I was really hooked and I was really looking forward to seeing that they had a season 2. I didn't look at the trailer. I kind of want to go in blind. I did look at some of the titles. James, like you said, like what if the Avengers were in 1602? They have to talk about slavery. I feel like they just have to. It's
I feel
such
like
a
they should
big,
at that point.
not like I need them to address racial issues in America, but like I feel
Right.
like every single person in America who first saw that title is like slavery. It's the first thing they thought of.
Yeah.
They have to joke about it.
1602.
Well, slavery is not a joke,
Nah,
but
that is not true. Some cats would
Don't joke
probably
about it.
be. Nah, there's some cats that would probably be like, oh, we need to see this in like oh, they're gonna join our like founding fathers or a revolutionary army. And obviously, like 1602 is too far back. That's more pilgrim stuff than slavery.
yeah,
If they did like 1800, then
Okay.
maybe that's why they went that far back. They probably went
To
that far
avoid-
back so they didn't have to.
Yeah.
Have to worry about that stuff. You're right. Yeah, it's just right before the slaves came in. Yeah,
I do like what you said though. I do really, really like what you said about like saying like, hey, this is different because it's like I don't have to do a bunch of homework. Because I think that's really leaning into like a common complaint about comics. There's so much out that you feel like you can't just jump in.
Mm-hmm.
And when you started the MCU, there wasn't enough out for you to even have that feeling of, oh, I don't even want to get invested. But it's becoming like that.
Yeah.
yep.
It just feels
I
like
agree.
you have to know everything that happened beforehand to understand what's happening here. In this, you don't have to. You can just jump in blind. If you're like a 15-year-old kid and like you just like want to watch TV, watch cartoons, you can just watch this and not have to like, oh, what are
Bingo.
the other things I did? Also, James, I have to disagree. Happy Hogan Saves Christmas. I'm a sucker for Christmas stories and Christmas movies and Christmas TV shows and Christmas specials. It's cheesy, it's campy. I'm not expecting anything grandiose, but it's just like, oh, a Christmas special, something else.
What if they have him have the Iron Man suit? What if that's like, what if that's the thing? They have him have the Iron Man
Maybe.
suit, and that's how he saves Christmas. I don't know what that story would be, but you're right. I do think that a lot of people have been a little harsh on it. I'm not like a lot of people have What If as like the bottom of their TV show rankings for Marvel, but I can understand that because a lot of the episodes I don't really revisit. There's only like 2 or 3 I might revisit, especially the last episode. The last episode
Mhm.
itself, I was like, oh, that's
Okay,
How
yeah.
would What If
I
be at
like-
the bottom of the barrel?
I don't know.
It's
There are some definitively bad Marvel TV shows, and they're
That
not
is
hard
true.
to find.
they're not hard to find, but I think when it comes to a lot of people, some people, depending on who you talk to, didn't like how it tied in. A lot of people felt like it should just be just
Well, they don't like
anthology,
fun.
they don't like fun. I agree. They don't like fun. It's like almost like Black Mirror, where it's like they don't connect. It's just one and done. But I thought it was kind of cool. But it felt like another MCU thing to, oh, now it's another thing I got to keep track of now again. I can't just watch this without watching the other stuff. But we'll see how it plays out. We'll see.
We'll see.
But I think the what's interesting is Marvel was going through so much stuff because we talked about it before in other episodes where they were exposed for not knowing how to run TV well, essentially, and they didn't have the right infrastructure on how to actually properly handle television staffing, etc. So Marvel took the goal of reorganizing their stuff, which also meant reorganizing their film slate. And so much that they reorganized it that the only film that we have in the MCU next year is Deadpool 3. That's the only movie that's coming out, I believe, like June, like summertime, I believe.
I think that's a great thing.
Yeah. So if you look at this right now, you have Deadpool 3 coming out in 2024, and then you have 4 films: Captain America 4, Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, and Blade, all supposed to be coming out in 2025. Which, in my opinion, it makes a lot of sense because it seems like Captain America 4 went through a massive reshoot recently, where an article came out saying that they're doing like 4 months of reshoots. And for people who want to like understand the scope of that, to film Endgame, it was also like 4 months to shoot Endgame. So it almost feels like they're taking the entire movie apart and just reshooting it. But with this, looking at the schedule, y'all, are you guys fine with this decision? Do you guys wish the movies can move up, like Blade, for example? Like, what's y'all thoughts on this? Let's start with Jason.
Absolutely not. We do not need to move anything up. I think 1 year and one movie is exactly what Marvel needs to hit a hard reset. People don't even want to see these movies. People can't afford to see all these movies back to back right now, especially right after Christmas time. Like, people are broke right now. Like, all these people that I care about,
Literally.
gotta get them gifts and stuff. Come on now.
Yeah, exactly.
And I also think you are totally right. I don't know why anyone was surprised that Marvel couldn't write TV shows. Because they've never been good at writing TV shows. How many good Marvel TV shows can you count? And even then, that was before Disney bought them. And after Disney bought them, remember that one Marvel TV show? It was like Agents of the S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was one of the most boring TV shows I've ever seen. You wouldn't have imagined it was a
Yeah.
superhero TV show unless they were wearing dumb costumes. Like, the
That's
reality
true.
was, like, way back in the day, like, DC was knocking it out of the park with TV shows. DC's always been like way better at TV shows. All the way back,
Even
you know,
animated TV shows.
especially animated TV shows. Man, even Smallville was better than that mug. I love
True.
Smallville, but the writing, it's very CW-y. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes. Yes.
even the Flash, which I really enjoyed up until season 5. Season 4 is a little
Mine was
pushing at
season
this
two.
point. You
Season two
dropped
is
on
when I
season 2?
stopped. Yeah, season two. Season three
Nah, I
caught up
was faithful,
nice.
man. I'm a DC junkie for real, but the
Man.
Flash was hard to get past season 5. It was just dang near impossible. It was the first season I couldn't go. But the reality is, I don't know why anyone was surprised that that Marvel, like Disney's Marvel, couldn't write TV. We have a track record of bad television shows, and in general, Marvel's TV shows don't age well.
Yeah, they don't.
Believe me, I've been trying to rewatch them.
Oh my god. So what do you think, Malcolm?
I agree. Obviously, it's not too hard to agree with this concept. You need to take a break, Marvel. What are you doing? Like,
I agree.
savor what we have and just let it breathe. Because I feel like they're really trying to stretch everything they can to like two, three, four, five movies all in one year, and like we need to make a profit. We need to make this. We need to do that because we promised this. Like, I promise you, if you just take a break and like let things breathe, people will come back. They just need to like digest everything that they've just witnessed in the past 5 to 10 years and just like I need to
You know what's
take a deep
crazy?
breath. What?
You know what's crazy about this is that if you think about it, so that's so we. But now, to be fair, Marvel does have like 3 or 4 shows coming out next year. They have Echo coming out, dropping next month. They're dropping all the episodes at once on January 10th. You have um, What If season two? No, no, I'm sorry, that's not it. We just talked about it. I forgot what it is. Oh, X-Men '97. They're dropping that in the summertime of next year as well. And then you also have Agatha, that spin-off movie that spin-off TV show no one really cares about from WandaVision. That's coming out in the fall 2024. And Ironheart has been delayed indefinitely until they figure out where to place it, essentially.
That's crazy
So,
because Ironheart would have been one of the ones that they really would have been able to cash in on because
oh yeah,
her cameo in Wakanda Forever was well received. She's an interesting character, and they've been looking for someone to replace Iron Man's like the hole that he left when he retired, and now they're bringing it. That's neither here nor there. I don't
I,
understand why that wasn't one of the first things they brought back, but no, they introduced a bunch of characters that people weren't even thinking about.
that's true.
It's
I
almost
think
like they
too,
were
it's
like,
also
"All right, we
weird.
have enough hype for these big characters.
Yep.
Like, we have enough bandwidth for we have enough hype built up for all these characters that people want to see that we're going to use up their patience and then introduce a bunch of characters that nobody was thinking about, not necessarily that nobody cares about, but nobody was thinking about those characters, and then you introduce them and then they underestimated how little patience people have, and now I'm not even sure if they bring all the characters that we were excited to see from all these cameos that if we'll
No.
even bite. If they make an Ironheart movie, I don't think people are gonna bite. If they had made
No.
the Ironheart movie a year ago, people would have been
Yeah.
right in there. But no, we have like that crappy Thor movie that came out. We had like
Yeah.
Quantumanium was just a wash,
Yeah. You
and
had the Marvels too. So
and
that's
then
another
all
thing.
these dumb TV shows that should have never got made, or they should have
Oh
just been
yeah.
more concise. Well, I don't know. I just don't know. I really think they would have done better to slow down. But they
Hmm.
tripled down, assuming that we have endless bandwidth and that we can just keep raising the subscription price. Oh, we're pushing all these shows out, so we need to like make ends meet. You can make ends meet by not making a bunch of crappy projects.
Uh oh. Here comes anti-capitalist Jason. Go ahead, Jason.
I
But
was
I
just
do
talking
agree with
about
you.
comic books
I know.
and them making too much because we can't possibly consume this high volume of media and also maintain the fact that all of it is within the same continuity, which makes it feel like homework. That's a
It
problem.
does. It does. And
Never
I
felt that
think
way about
it's
any of my other DC stuff. Never felt like homework to me.
someone said it best. Someone said that everything's about content now, and it sucks because we don't have that much time during the day to consume everything. And so when you have stuff like this situation where okay, cool, we have all these shows coming out from Marvel. We have luckily Deadpool 3 is the only movie in MCU. But what it led me thinking though is that okay, that means 2025 is going to be a mega year for comic book movies because you got to think about this in this perspective. The only comic book movies I in knowledge of right now is that's coming out next year is Deadpool 3 and the Joker movie, Joker 2. I think that's the only comic movies I believe is coming out next year, which means 2025 is Batman Part 2, Superman Legacy, and then you have Captain America 4, Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, Blade. It is going to be packed of superhero movies. So I think it's good though, because I do think it's good for us to have this breathing room and make people finally feel like they've missed Marvel and stuff like that, and see it more as an event than as homework, like you said. So with all that being said, the next thing that I actually wanted to bring up is something that is very interesting that I saw a couple of days ago. So apparently, there's a new animated series coming out called Eyes of Wakanda, and it's in the works at Marvel. Now we don't know much about it. All we have is like a little screenshot, or at least not necessarily a screenshot, but kind of like a drawing of what they want to do with the franchise, with the show. This is what it looks like. This is what we see.
Oh,
And all they say, yeah, and all they say about it is that, quote, throughout Wakandan history, brave warriors have been tasked to travel the world retrieving dangerous vibranium artifacts. This is their story. So to me, it sounded almost like a Law and Order type of thing, where it's like every episode might be about a different Wakandian going to retrieve an artifact in the world, and they might have to do some stealth missions or something like that. I think that would be a wonderful idea, and the fact that it's animated too will show off so much creativity in terms of design and stuff like that. But what's your thoughts on the idea of an animated series, Eyes Wakanda, for Marvel?
I'm all for it. Again, I'm skeptical of their ability to like pull this off. Marvel has a track record of not really doing the best job with episodic television structure, where you can weave in independent episodes, like say, like you can softly watch an episodic TV show out of order a little bit, right? Just
Yeah,
because there's like complete arcs in every episode, so there's a sense of conclusion. And I think Marvel is kind of in the same bag with Netflix, where they've almost built their storytelling structure based off of the fact that people's TV habits have transitioned towards binging. And honestly, in the last year, people are kind of like, hey, it's been nice to finally have the option to binge things, because this isn't just like when you had a DVR, like we can stream and binge whatever. People are tired of that. Like people are just like, crap, like I'm not enjoying television as much when I'm binging like this. I actually enjoy things in pieces. And I think depending on how they pull that off, we'll see. Because I have concerns about whether or not they can pull off just being able to tell those stories in an, like, this is an anthology series essentially, like they're going back in
probably.
time,
Yeah,
splitting in,
yeah.
and honest to goodness, there's opportunities for them to do like maybe like slight crossovers or just references or even other things that have been built into the overall Marvel mythos. I mean, Marvel's universe is much younger than DC's, so they don't have the same bandwidth to do anthology like that, because again, like DC has almost like 100 years of like comic books,
It's going to be interesting to see what they do with this. I
and
agree.
Marvel is a baby compared to DC history wise, and so they don't have as much old stories to pull from. And but we'll see. We'll have to see. I know there was like Black Panther's been in animated Marvel works before, but again, like nobody talks about those things. Nobody has like oh my gosh, like remember that show? It was such a classic. People don't do that because they
Yeah,
don't age well. And again, I don't know. I would hope that they would make a type of story that they don't focus so much on like Flash. Like I know like this is looking good, but I think what happens when we focus more on Flash opposed to just consistency and just clean, consistent like storytelling, clean, consistent animation, and clean, consistent like themes that hold up. Like that's the make or break between a show that's really good for this year and then a year from now, like it's kind of not the vibe anymore, versus things that hold up and essentially like age very well, which I've been watching a lot
hmm
of.
yeah.
And so
I
those
think
are my hopes. My expectations are low. My hopes are high. Does that make sense?
yeah, it does. I think we'll see how it goes. I think the fact that they made it animated works. I hope they put it underneath this Marvel Spotlight banner, so that way it doesn't have to worry about it being tied down to what the MCU continuity is, and it can be like its own Elseworld type of story. But we'll see how it goes. But
James, can you
uh,
pull that image back up?
yeah, sure, buddy. Yeah. Did you hear the announcement? Oh
Yeah.
shoot. Crap, I gotta find it again. I closed it. But go ahead.
Oh, I
Let me
just
see.
wanted to make a comment on the outfit.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
All right.
Here we go.
You'll be like,
Here
it's
we go.
actually racist.
Nah. Well, I'll say this about the TV show that this better be like some spy, but like not spy, thriller, secret, like mission type artifact recovery. I don't want to see just straight up, just an action movie. Like I want a more of like a what the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was supposed to be, but it wasn't. But also
Espionage
animated
thriller.
wise,
Yeah.
yes,
Right.
yes,
Right.
an espionage thriller, and I like the design. I really
Oh
just
yeah.
wanted to see what it looked like because I
I
saw
like
it,
the
but like I
gold.
didn't get a good enough picture.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'm
we'll
excited.
see how it goes. We'll see. Now, next one coming up is we got some official news about Pedro Pascal being eyed, not confirmed. He's not confirmed, so hold off the pitchforks. He's just eyed to play the role of Reed Richards, and this caused a major storm in the comic book community because a lot of people have different fan casts. A lot of people wanted John Krasinski to come back, but it sounds like he doesn't really care enough to come back and play as Reed Richards. There was rumor that Adam Driver, which played as Kylo Ren in the Star Wars new trilogy, he was a villain. Apparently, he was offered it, but apparently Marvel had a problem with a lot of Reed Richard actors were so expensive to pay for, so they decided to not pay those. But I guess Pedro Pascal is not that expensive to pay for, so I guess they're going to give him the role potentially.
Dang,
But
that's disrespectful.
I don't, I don't know. But a lot of people's opinions for him in this is that one, they don't like it because one, they just can't they don't see Reed Richards in him. It just doesn't look to them the same. But also, a lot of his roles are based on being like the stubborn father figure, like you see The Last of Us with Ellie. He's just like that person who is like that disgruntled old man. So a lot of people wonder how that's going to translate well with Reed Richards. But hey, look, Pedro Pascal can act. He was Mandalorian, so he got my trust. But what's your thoughts, Jason?
I don't know why people are so upset. Because again, like remember when Robert Pattinson was casted as Batman, everyone was dogging him. I'm not
It's
gonna lie,
Twilight.
I wanted to, but I'm also very much like, hey, let them act. Because the reality is like acting is like that's what it is. We're
Yeah, you're
looking at
acting.
who you are, but then acting isn't you being who you are. Acting is you being someone else, being another character,
Exactly.
and then filling in that character and growing that character further. If you're a really good actor, like say Leonardo DiCaprio, like when you take the role and then
Yeah.
develop it further, even beyond who the writer is.
Hmm.
And I don't see a lot of that. Honest to goodness, I think he could pull it off, just because the reality is like, man, makeup and a hairstyle and a good shave of the beard like can go so far. And again, like we're really boxing in these actors, especially ones that don't have that long a career for us to really box them in like that. It's not like some person who has like a 20-year career and they've only done like this specific type of role. You know what I mean? Like it's not that we're just like, oh, like Nicolas Cage, like as
Yeah. Exactly.
you know what I mean?
As any role, I know exactly. So
Like
we'll
we
have to
don't want to
see.
see that.
But
Nobody wants to see that. Sorry, Nicolas Cage.
mm.
Nobody wants to see you on stage anymore.
Now Malcolm's a
Anyways,
big Nicolas Cage fan,
I
so
am.
that's
Malcolm, you want to
How
defend?
dare you?
Right?
National
How dare you?
treasure.
Literally. Come on
Mm,
now.
mm, mm.
overrated. Anyways,
Oh,
Go ahead, Malcolm.
oh my gosh. I don't know how to respond to that, but I don't know Pedro Pascal that much because I haven't seen literally anything he's in. I know the name. I've seen all the like the clips and pictures, but like I haven't
memes.
cared about anything. Yeah, all that. Like I just
Interesting.
haven't cared. I hear that he's a great actor, so
He is.
my thought process is why not just let him cook? Like
exactly.
let him do his thing. If everyone's excited that he's a great actor, but then they're upset that he may not portray the way that they want him to, like whatever happened to just like letting see what happens? Like why do we always have to
Oh yeah.
judge based off of like a book by its cover, as people like to say?
We'll have to see because there's so many famous examples of people of fans thinking, oh, this actor can't do it, but then the movie comes out, they're like, oh, like Heath Ledger, for example, because they
That's
make
true.
fun of
Yeah.
him with Brokeback Mountain. Same to Robert Pattinson. A lot of people made fun of him for Twilight, but then the Batman came out and people were like, "Oh, I forgot you are an actor. It's your job to act." And speaking of which, side note, just to talk about how crazy it is. I know you guys didn't watch the new Studio Ghibli movie, The Boy and the Heron. Robert Pattinson plays the heron, the falcon that you see like in the trailer. When you hear him talk, that you do not hear at all Robert Pattinson. That is a whole new voice transformed. It's
So
different
he's
from like how
almost like
Jason
he's a
felt.
good actor.
He's a good actor. It's the same way how with Jason when it came to Super Mario, he wanted someone who's actually Italian to do it,
I
but
didn't
not
say that.
an American actor.
I didn't say that.
So
Might as well.
he did. Jason didn't say that. He didn't say that.
I just say
he thought Mario could have been voiced
Mario
better.
enough, you mean?
He don't sound like Mario. Yes,
But I mean,
but
Chris Pratt did a great job at that role.
he did. So I was like, hey, look, it can work, man. You just gotta see how it goes. See how it goes. But speaking of which, how things go, the Sony universe is dropping a whole nother movie called Madam Web. It is coming out. I think when is it coming out again, Jason? It's coming out sometime in theaters. I forgot.
I literally have it up.
Sometime earlier this year.
It's showing to be
next year. Like what? Like February or something? Madam Web. Yeah, something like that. So yeah, February 14th. Oh, Valentine's Day. Man, and during Black History Month?
I mean,
Crazy,
Madam
bro.
Web. So it's not
Right,
Mr.
Madam
Web.
Web. Hey, it's Madam Web. Hey, you know what I'm saying? So they're trying to release it, and the trailer just dropped like a month ago. And we heard a lot of things about Madam Web. We know it seems like, based on rumors and based on what the trailer is giving, it sounds like the whole story is she gets these powers through some way, and the whole story is that this person attacking them is actually somebody who is trying to kill Peter Parker as a baby. It sounds like, and so her job is to, I guess, go through like a Groundhog Day process or moments in the timeline to make sure that Peter Parker is born as Spider-Man. At least that's the rumor mill.
Are you saying so she gets
So-
she restarts the day over and over again?
Every time she dies.
I don't think it's.
or fails.
I don't know if it's maybe. I don't know if it restarts today or something,
just-
but I know it's
or
a
whatever range of
constant
time.
restart.
Yeah,
Whatever range of
okay.
time she's restarting consistently. In the trailer, actually, I don't know where. Right here, this scene right here, where the guy's talking to her. A lot of people, if you pause at that moment, that was supposed to be like Ben Parker, like Uncle Ben, essentially. But I'm going into fan theories. But anyway, I want to get y'all thoughts on this film, on this trailer. I know Jason, you just watched it. How do you feel about the rumored premise? What do you think is actually going to happen? Because Madam Web is one of those Spider-Man characters where her only role was to tie all the Spider-Man universes together into one, so she can transport in different universes. But that's it. So
I think Madam Web is a really, really interesting character. It's different from just like another person getting spider powers. Like, I'm not sure if you guys know, like right now in like the Spider-Man like comics, there's just so many different people. It's like 5 people now who have Spider-Man powers, like Miles Morales, like Spider Lad,
Peter Parker's
another
one.
back,
Yeah,
and then like 2
There's
more,
multiple.
and it's just like, how are you gonna start differentiating these cats? Like you can't just keep giving them new powers. You gotta separate them. Throw someone on an island or something. I don't know. Make someone go to
Literally, I
Cali.
agree.
I don't know. Anyways, but the reality is like, I'm about this. I just finished watching like 2 seasons straight of like ReZero, which kind of also does the whole like mind bendy, like have to keep reliving the thing and study your mistakes
Over and over again.
and like get
Yeah.
second chances to do this thing and kind of just prevent the worst case scenario. And I don't mind that type of storytelling. It can obviously, any type of storytelling can be like washed and like, you just mess it up. But this leads a lot of opportunity for like redos, and as far as like continuity concerns, there's a lot of like leeway, and I kind of like giving writers leeway where they can get it, because then you can actually get like good stories. Also, this is a Marvel movie that isn't Disney,
yeah.
and
This is
I don't know
Sony.
about you, but I'm kind of cool having Disney movies a little bit right now because they keep giving me
Hey.
the same thing. I did enjoy, the Marvels like adequately in terms of just like it's a fun movie to watch. Despite all of the issues with it, I don't think it should have done as bad as it did. But again, like this is different. This is gonna be different. I'm excited for it. I'm a big fan of Mind Bend because again, it's a higher difficulty type of story to write.
To pay off.
But if you pull it off at all, it's automatically like an A rank or an S rank story.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing with time travel. You either try to pull it off and fail. It's either an F or like an A or an S.
Yeah, you either sink or swim. Like it
The
barely
margin
ever
for
in
error
between.
is not. The margin for error is so slim that pulling it off at all means it's an amazing movie. So again, for that
Hmm.
reason, I'm hoping they pull this off. I don't know who exactly is like directing it, but I'm about it. I would go out to see this.
Yeah. Oh, okay, okay. Malcolm.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like I keep repeating myself, but this is also another one of my guilty pleasure type of themes of like you have to restart and keep doing something until you like learn and change and you gotta grow each time. So like Groundhog's Day, I like it. It was a good movie, solid. Another movie that did the same concept but didn't get as great reviews, kind of, was Happy Death Day. It was a horror movie genre. I don't know if either of you saw that. Got two movies. It was an okay, campy, just casual horror flick, PG
I liked it
13, but it has
personally.
the same concept of like the girl dies and like she has to keep reliving to find out who's been killing her, and I just enjoy those type of stories. Spoiler alert to anyone who didn't watch Loki season 2, but that also happens in that. And like Jason said, ReZero, like there's just a couple different like forms of media that do that a lot, and I like it and seem to enjoy it each time. But I will say that I am interested to see how it goes in an MCU, not TV show style, as just a standalone movie. I agree with Jason
Yeah.
that it'll either be sink or swim. I don't know if I don't know if they have the bandwidth, but I'm excited. Question mark.
Hey, go
I think I'm
ahead. I mean,
excited.
hey, because
I'm
right after
excited.
Madam Web, we got Craven the Hunter. So,
That's
I
true.
pick
just
your poison.
rewatched Spider-Man 2 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 this last couple of weeks.
Oh,
Why?
look at
Why
that.
not? Um
Suffer.
For many
It's,
reasons, why not? But okay.
yeah.
just to like just see it again and see like how it holds up, especially as these newer movies are coming out, and Spider-Man obviously is just untouchable right now in media.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see what was
So,
cracking.
It
me
wasn't it.
personally, I think this trailer was very interesting. I know a lot of people was calling it. A lot of people. I think this is like one of those like B movies. Like it's not gonna be trying. It's
Yeah,
not trying to be an Oscar prestige film. It's not trying to win the best dramatic roles. It is it knows what it is and it's sticking in its lane and it's playing to its strengths.
Bingo.
That's what it
oh,
feels like.
hear me out. Have you all? Do y'all understand when I say that there are movies that are like gets a 6 out of 10, but you really enjoy it, versus a movie that's a 6 out of 10 and you're like that was bad.
Yeah, I can see the
Like
mindset.
there are movies where like yeah I'd give that a 6 or 6.5 out of 10, but like that's a great rewatchable movie. But like it wasn't amazing, wasn't breathtaking, but it was just like that was fun. I enjoyed it. I would rewatch that. But it was still a six
Yeah,
out of ten. And then there's
Yeah,
movies
yeah.
where it's just like, what did I just watch? Like,
you will never watch it again. Yeah,
yeah, like I don't
exactly.
know if I'll watch that again. Like it was okay, I guess. That's what I
Yeah.
feel like this is going to be. I feel like this is going to be a good 6.5, 7 out of 10. But like you would
Hmm.
rewatch it. It's fun, but you would never call it like Oscar worthy. You would never be like, wow, this is like
I need this in my
the
collection.
yeah. But you were like,
Right.
yeah, I enjoyed it. I would watch it again. It's you would put it on the background. That's what I'm picturing this movie's going to be.
Oh, nice, solid, solid. Okay, cool. So, moving on away from Marvel and Sony because they took like 43 minutes of this. And that's because Marvel and Sony are always going through something, so there's always content there. But we're going to pivot to the DC side of things. So, DC, James Gunn is still building out his universe. And right now we're in the current of the casting calls. It's he plans to shoot Superman Legacy starting January next month, actually. So things are on the way, and we're starting to get a lot of more casting announcements. For example, we got our Lex Luthor, and it's going to be played by the one and only Nicholas Holt. Now, if you don't know who Nicholas Holt is, it's very interesting. So he actually auditioned for the Batman Robert Pattinson role. He was actually one of the top actors rumored to actually be in the running to play it, but then Robert Pattinson got it, and then he actually auditioned to play Superman in Superman Legacy. He didn't get it, so James Gunn's like, "Hey, you know what? You're good. I like you. Let's get you as Lex Luthor." And James Gunn did confirm he will be bald. He will be bald in the movie. So we're gonna see how it goes. But yeah, so Nicholas Holt's playing, and not only did we get Nicholas Holt playing for Lex Luthor, we got a little bit more additional details. So Jimmy Olsen has been cast. The actor's name is Skylar Gisondo, I believe. I'm not really familiar with his works. The only thing I'm familiar with is that Jason should know this because he just watched the Amazing Spider-Man films. Kazando actually played the brother of Gwen Stacy. So he was the one who's now cast as Jimmy Olsen in the film. And I think it's pretty interesting how they have this set up. So, me personally, I'll start first, I guess. Me personally, when it comes to Superman, I'm a really big fan of it. I really do love the comic books, the movies, and etc. And I think so far, what I'm hearing from James Gunn's idea for Superman Legacy, that you're having all these different characters like Mr. Terrific, you're having Hawkgirl in here, and then you have other like Lex Luthor's always also in here. A lot of people were worried, and they keep hounding James Gunn about this too. But a lot of people are worried that it's probably going to be overstuffed with so much that it may not be actually a Superman movie. And someone says something that was really good that shut everybody up because it is actually a very valid point. Someone posted a screenshot by saying, if you don't think you can write a story that can focus on Superman with other supporting characters, look at Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer had like 20 A-list actors, but it was still, if you watch it, it's still an Oppenheimer film through and through. So it's not about the idea of how many too many characters. It's just what roles do they play. And James Gunn has already said in this movie, he like all these characters are here because they serve a purpose for Superman's story, for the main story. So they're not necessarily there for Easter egg references or anything like that. They're there just to show Superman's side of things and also Clark Kent's side of things. So, with all that being said, Jason and Malcolm, what are y'all thoughts about Lex Luthor finally being casted? How much do you guys think he'll be actually involved in this? And Jamie Olsen, if you guys care enough to talk about that as well.
My immediate comment is please don't make it Lex Luthor Jr. and don't make him like sporadic and goofy.
Or just like cartoonishly villain. I mean,
yes.
Obviously, like the context of which these characters I know is cartoons, but and I don't mind like a level of like flair and flamboyancy with the characters.
But Lex Luthor is. I'm sorry, James. Your favorite movie of all time. Just like I don't know how you like that.
Not my favorite movie of all time, but y'all wild for saying that. But yeah, go ahead.
For the audience, they're talking about Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, that's one thing in the movie I did not like. So I agree with Malcolm on that take. I don't like how they did Lex Luthor Jr. That was a cop out. But yeah, so I don't know. I think overall, I hope it does well. We'll see when it comes out. It's supposed to come out 2025, so we'll see how that goes. Now, next thing coming up is one that I wonder how you guys feel about this. There's some plot points in this article that I found interesting. So, Legend of Zelda live action is actually in the works. And
I
it's
will mute my
directed
mic.
by...
I will let y'all talk. Y'all are some nerds, some geeks. Y'all played
Malcolm
all the
does
games.
not care about anything in this.
I'm a hater.
I haven't played all of the games. I've only played...
You played enough.
I have played
What
a
a
decent
loser.
number of Zelda games, but not like anywhere close to all of them.
What a loser. So,
I know that
here is...
Zelda
Call me a
is.
loser.
I know Zelda is the princess, and it took me like probably until high school to know that. But that's all.
What? Wow.
I'm sorry, I
that's
didn't
interesting.
care.
I get it,
He's like,
but
sorry,
you're going to care now.
I don't care.
I didn't grow
Because
up
here's
around
the
people
thing.
who cared about the Legend of Zelda.
Then they weren't good people then, Malcolm. Here's the thing.
My
When
family.
it comes to... So, let me get into the point of the article.
Well, when you
I can't.
Okay, fine. All right. I mean,
Do your thing, bro.
Thank you. So Legend of Zelda is in the works with Wes Ball directing. Okay, so it's gonna be partnered with Nintendo and Sony. So this trailer that I'm showing you right now is one of the movies that this director is actually directing. This is like his flair, his style, so you get to see what his visual style might be. He did this movie, and he also directed the Maze Runner franchise. If you guys are familiar with it, that was a young adult franchise back in the early 2010s. Now, the writer for this movie is going to be Derek Connolly, and he's well known for making the entire Jurassic World trilogy. He wrote all of it. So take that with you will. A lot of people do not like the Jurassic World trilogy, but it made a whole bunch of money. So, I mean, you know. But the one last point I want to make is that the director, he states, now mind this is a live action, he states that Miyazaki movies, so Spirited Away, The Boy and the Heron, Princess Mononoke, all of them, they are inspiration for The Legend of Zelda live action, essentially. So, me personally, I'll just say this. I don't know. I would rather you just go to Studio Ghibli and just tell them, can you make an animated Legend of Zelda flick instead of doing a live action one? But we'll see how it goes. I don't know, Jason. I don't know. You say you're not really well known to the lore and stuff like that, and that's
Oh
fine.
no, I didn't say
But
that.
oh, you didn't. Oh, my fault. Oh, I'm sorry. But I do want to get your thoughts though on. So, how do you feel about the fact that you have a director who's directing this film? He's saying he's using Miyazaki's inspiration to make this, and also the writer of Jurassic World trilogy is penning this. What's your thoughts on this?
Same thing I said about the whole like Groundhog Day concept. Like you either nail it and it's amazing, or you fail. Even more so. You know why? The whole mythos of Legend of Zelda is like a lot of RPGs in general. The movies don't translate well for the simple fact that those characters, your main characters, do not have a personality outside of how you as the viewer play. The second you choose a personality, which you have to do almost, unless they somehow manage not to, for these characters, like then you essentially like create new dynamics, and everyone else who had their own imaginary dynamic, like that's why people who read the books or stuff never like the movie.
Yeah.
Because again, like so much of the enjoyment of it was up to you. It was designed for you. Like again, adapting TV shows or comics into movies is different from adapting games into movies, and it'll always be the case. And it's always going to be harder to adapt a game into a movie because games are designed to put autonomy in the hands of the players.
And the gameplay, that's the focus. Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And so I don't know how you're going to do that with a movie of this scale. I think if Nintendo has their hands on it and they know how to take care of their own characters, then it's likely that they're going to do well. But otherwise, I think this is going to... I'm not betting on this.
I feel like Zelda deserves a more animated feature. I feel like we're close. Could be left alone. You're right. You're right. I feel like we're on the cusp of almost Hollywood realizing, hey, you can, like, animation is not just for kids, and it doesn't need to be solely for like other reasons. Like, if you feel like this actually elevates the style of the product, go animation instead of live action. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, when you're watching the gameplay like this, it's gonna be a lot of either heavy CGI. It's probably gonna feel a little weird, and plus the biggest thing that people want to talk about is that the protagonist Link, I believe, doesn't talk. So they have two routes and go with this.
How are you going to write that?
He's mute. He's mute. So either you stay loyal and you keep him as a mute character, but then you have to have a very good actor that is good with facial expressions, who can convey their emotions through their eyes and their body language, or you make them talk, and you're going to piss off so many people who love Zelda. So
they're going to have to make him mute.
They're going to have to.
This already sounds like a bad idea. I didn't even play
exactly.
It sounds like a bad idea.
We need to stop putting everything. How many $1 billion are we gonna drop into, like this bucket with holes in it that we call live action adaptations for everything we think nerds like?
I know. We don't.
It was like, oh snap! The nerds all went to school for STEM, so they got money. Yes. Let's keep making movies for them. Stop.
They sure did.
We need to stop. This needs to end immediately.
They're not going to stop. You know why they're not going to stop, Jason?
Because they're going to stop once they stop making money. Because guess what? They're losing money on these dumb movies.
If Mario already made them $1 billion this year, they're already doing Legend of Zelda. I'm telling you, as long as Zelda has a solid story and you have some grass, billion.
But Mario is more cross-generational than Zelda is.
That is true. So I wonder who this will target though. Because you're right, because Mario is like transgenerational. Like it affects everyone from like the 80s onwards. So who would be the target audience for Zelda? Because you want to make sure you're not too niche with your marketing, but it has to be interesting. So,
Zelda hasn't been picked up as well by these Gen Alphas and stuff. And again, they're the target audience because people my age probably. I mean, we grew up playing Zelda games, and then people like millennials really grew up playing these games. But again, these games are designed in a way that isn't even congruent with the way that people enjoy video games anymore to begin with. I'm not going to get into like game design or anything, but the reality is Zelda is a puzzle adventure dungeon crawler
Yeah.
style game, practically. Again, those games are not flying off the shelves these days, right? And they are flying off the shelves. People our age and older. So I just don't know who's the audience for this practically, and can they pull it off? They can. I think it can be done. I mean, that's the whole magic behind art and writing and all that. With enough creativity, like you master your limits, and then like you know your rules, and then you break your rules, and then you make a masterpiece. Like that's fine. That's cool. I just think that it's I'm not holding my breath.
I mean, they're probably going to cast Zendaya as Zelda and Tom
Zendaya
Holland
would
as
be
the
a
main
great sheep.
protagonist. Yes, I'll admit to
We've
that. I
had this
think Zendaya
conversation.
would be. I think
It would be a
Zendaya
good
would
link
be
though.
good. It would be. I think we'll have to see how that goes. But hey, look, we'll
The dude
see
from Dune.
because oh gosh, oh Timothy Chalamet. Hmm.
I don't know. Anyways,
I think we're to see. But anyway, moving on to the next topic. We're not done with the whole idea of live action adaptations because apparently Netflix they released One Piece live action. A lot of people thought it was good. They thought it was really good, a really great adaptation. I'm watching Yu Yu Hakusho right now, the live action one. I just finished episode one actually of it. I don't know how it's going to pan out for the rest of the season because only 5 episodes in total. But I will say this: it's a banger. They did really good with the first episode. So I'm like, hey, let's see what happens. So Netflix feels like they're in their bag. They feel a little cocky. They're like, yo, Amazon got the boys. DC got their Justice League. Marvel got their Avengers and Fantastic Four and X-Men and everything like that. You know what we need? We need our own superheroes. So they went and got Deku. They went and got All Might, who's going to be played by The Rock most likely. So Netflix has announced, or at least provided an update, that they're doing a My Hero live action show or movie. They don't know yet. We just know it's a live action adaptation, and it's still in development. And what they said was, like I mentioned, they don't know whether it's going to be a movie or TV series. But what I found very interesting about this is the team behind writing this and directing it. So they said they have, let me read it right here. It's being worked on by producer Joby Harold. I forgot his name. I meant to write down his credits, but I know he did something important that I wanted to write down. I might have to Google it. But they did say Horikoshi, the writer of My Hero Academia, will be either assisting with the story of the live action adaptation and make sure it's structurally well done. And we'll see. All they said is that it's in the works still. We're still working on the script, still making sure the story is right. Me personally, by the way, if you guys did not watch My Hero Academia anytime recently, this is the newest trailer for the upcoming season that's coming out next spring.
yeah.
So, I felt conflicted with this because there's some animes like Yu Yu Hakusho and One Piece where I'm like, okay, I can understand how you want to make this a TV series. It could definitely work as that. And because One Piece and Yu Yu Hakusho, it sounds like they go based on sagas instead of just like one arc. So My Hero Academia, the problem why I feel like it should be more so of a movie because I know. I just don't know how they're gonna do it because if you do it as a TV series, there's there's a lot of special effects in this. Like a lot, their powers are so different and vibrant and colorful, and it requires a lot of special effects. I feel like that's going to amp the budget a lot. So I would hate for them to do a TV series where it's just hand-to-hand combat and you're not seeing Deku and them pull out their special powers. So I don't know. But Jason and Malcolm, what's your thoughts on the idea of a live-action My Hero Academia? Because I'm telling you right now, they did good with One Piece and Yu Yu Hakusho. They nailed out My Hero Academia. Naruto's next. They're coming for y'all ninjas.
I don't care
They're
for
coming.
this at all.
They are. You
I'll
don't
leave it
care
at
for
that.
it?
I
How you feel, Malcolm?
I'm not excited for it. I think that they had a flash in the pan moment with One Piece live action. I think that was pretty good, but again, I'm still not a fan of anime or animation turning into live action, and I'm not a fan of the idea because I just have a high like expectation, and I know it's not going to be it. I will say that I'm glad it's not Naruto. Not yet. I just know it's coming. I hate it. James, you're right. It's coming, but it, no one needs this. but Netflix is like, let's try to make as much money as possible, and I see what they're going for. I will not be here. I'll say that. I will not be here for that.
Netflix is trying to get a franchise going. They're trying to strike gold with another franchise because Stranger Things is about to end. They don't really have another well-known or like, and they're trying to do Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon. They're trying to find their next money bag they can do multiple seasons with. So that's why they're trying to do.
Start coming up with original ideas. Like, not everything needs a live action and then like a sequel and then a prequel and
facts. Let's get away from franchise. Oh, but you also, I'll counter that, Malcolm. Young artists, there's no shortage of good writers, and there's no shortage of good new ideas. Nobody wants to invest in anything that's not sure.
Yeah.
And franchises are sure.
I get Reboots why they do it.
Sure. But again, like, someone made the point, like, they're trying to self-sabotage franchises so that people, audience-wise, can actually start giving independent movies a chance again.
Oh, wow. Interesting theory.
But I mean, again, like all these superhero movies, like watching like one after the next, after the next. I'm at the point where I'm cool with it. I like superhero movies. I like superhero content. But the reality is we do need new, fresh ideas. And everyone says they want new and fresh. But no, the same way everyone always wants to like, oh man, I want to like try new things. But then no one wants to like attach to the risk of trying a new thing. Yeah, nobody wants to spend money on a meal they might not like. So you end up at a restaurant eating chicken fingers and fries yet again. You played yourself.
Literally. But we'll see how that goes, man. I think if they knock this, I feel like they're not going to stop until people stop watching it, which means people like me. And that's not going to happen until they really go into dumpster fire.
I mean, it's getting there, bro. The dumpster's hot. It's steamy.
I'm telling you right now, I'm waiting for them to do another attempt of Dragon Ball live action.
I'm just gonna rewatch
of a movie.
And we need to redo that episode about the Dragon Ball live action because that I would see. You know why? Because Dragon Ball is a martial arts show, and guess what exists in real life?
Martial arts.
Bingo.
And ninjas. That's why Naruto's up next. You know, that's why.
Bro, they jumping through trees in the first arc. They're never gonna get past the Chunin exams, bro.
You can do that too. You can do that. Yo, that'll be crazy.
The CGI with Gaara is never gonna look right.
It won't look good. It won't. But we'll see how all that goes, and hopefully it all works out well. Now, the last thing we have to say before we wrap up this episode is one thing that me and Malcolm, we talked about a lot when the news first broke. So apparently Scream 7 is going to face a full creative reboot after losing Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera. If you don't know, Melissa Barrera was the sister of Jenna Ortega in the movies. So she was apparently fired. The film's producer came out. Be quiet, Malcolm. The film's producer in recent days over social media says that it was because she posted anti-Semitic posts, specifically regarding Israel-Hamas war. Now, a lot of people will debate on whether her posts were bad or not. I won't give my opinion. I will say some people say that her post was not about condoning anti-Semitism. It was more so talking about why war is bad and just want a ceasefire. Some people want to say that, well, either way, Israel should, it's still like Israel's still in the right. Like it's just a conflict of interest between Hollywood and some actors who just have different opinions, and a lot of actors who might be in support of Palestine don't feel comfortable speaking out because this stuff will happen to you. So, with that all being said, because Scream producers decided to fire Jenna or let go. I'm sorry. Let me finish the rest of the article. Actually, it actually said that the decision to fire Melissa Barrera was made after the company was notified that Jenna Ortega, whose star has risen considerably since she joined, the horror series. Jenna Ortega said that she would not return due to a scheduling conflict with the second season of Wednesday coming up on Netflix. I think that's a load of BS because there was a lot of reports coming out recently not recently, but during that time period, that Scream was not willing to wait for Jenna Ortega's schedule to be free because she was doing Beetlejuice 2 with Tim Burton. She was doing Wednesday and everything like that. And apparently the Scream producers were like, we don't need you. We're just going to recast you. I don't think that was true. There's no way you can have your main lead and be like, we don't need our main lead in this franchise anymore. We're just going to change things up. I think they got rid of
Sydney.
Both. Yeah, they got rid of Sydney. Yeah. So
More
that's
like
why they're
she
talking
like just
about
didn't
trying
want
to
to do
bring
it
it
anymore.
back. I think so too. I don't like. Some people want to say she was probably in support of Melissa Barrera's stance of supporting Palestine. So people say, hey, look, she probably just
Who knows, man?
was too filled up. Who knows? But Malcolm, I know you have some thoughts on this.
Oof.
Maybe. What do you want to
Yes,
say?
finally my time to shine. One of my
Let them
favorite
know.
movie franchises of all time. Again, I will not be there. I think they pissed off a lot of their fan base, and like these fans are diehard, including me. And I was skeptical of Scream 5. I was like, I don't know, but I'm like open minded. Like maybe they have a chance to like reboot the franchise in a way that I'm gonna still enjoy it. And I did. Went to the theaters, saw it, I enjoyed it. I'm like, that was a lot better than I expected. Wasn't a 10 out of 10 movie, but I'm like, they did what they were supposed to do, reboot the franchise. And then Scream 6 came out, and I was like, I'm in love. I went to the theaters. I had a grin on my face like the entire time. Like they did it. They hit it out of the park, back to back reboot sequels. And I was just like, I can't believe they found a way to reboot a 20-year-old franchise. And they found a way to have new young actors come in seamlessly and make it all work and exciting and fresh and fun. And like I was like, I can't wait to see how they do Scream 7, because like they have to do it. And now they're like trying to, the studios are getting so cocky that they can just reboot it again. Like it's not going to work. And I know me and a lot of the other diehard fans will not show up to this. We like, I've seen so many posts online saying like they're just straight up not even going to watch it. They're not going to care. Like I'm not going to watch it. There's probably nothing that they can do to like bring me to theaters to watch this, because they're getting rid of, again, their main characters, because they feel like they can get rid of them. I will not speak up for what happened, Free Palestine, but I will say that I think they've made a huge mistake underestimating their fans. They as in the producers, the whoever is made this decision is going to regret this. I'm so upset. What are they
I
doing to
think
my movies, my franchise?
my movies. I feel like this is one of those rare franchises where, well, first they struck gold with getting Jenna Ortega into it, and
Yes,
so it's
they
one of those
did.
franchises now
Before she
where
even
it's
was
like
like hit it off.
before she even popped. Yeah, exactly. So it feels like this is now a situation where, because Hollywood industry is now known for like focusing more so on people prefer the IP over the actors. Like some people are going to see the movies because of the IP
Mm-hmm.
itself. But I think it's now a situation where for Scream and this reboot, essentially, a lot of people are seeing it because of not yet because of Scream reboot, but also Jenna Ortega was into it, and plus she
Mm-hmm.
was actually good in
Yeah,
this. The whole crew
and
too.
they were good. It wasn't just that like
Yeah,
they got her into the movie and like, oh, she's the same. Like she was good. Her sister were good. They were a
yeah.
great duo pair. Like
And
I
there's actually
really
a
enjoyed their
storyline coming
story.
with that.
I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it. We were coming up with theories. Like the side characters,
Hmm.
their friends. I was like, man, I can't believe I'm enjoying all these characters. Like they've
Yeah.
actually found a way to do this, make it work, and make all of us invested. And
Hmm.
they could have like had a hit trilogy like 5, 6, and 7 if they just found a way to stick the landing. And they're gonna ruin it.
They could have,
They're
because
gonna ruin
Scream
it.
Seven really was about to be like they. You saw the storyline coming. You saw where it was going to
Mm-hmm.
lead to, and it was going to be this nice reveal about Sam Carpenter's character and her relation with her father, and what does that mean with her and her psychology, her mindset. So it was all there, but because of this, they let it go, and it's so unfortunate because it feels like they're not thinking like it's so sad that someone can have an opinion on something such as something like this, where it seems like for a lot of people, the actress was just calling for a ceasefire, really, and that was seen in Hollywood as like a no go because that's in a way against Israel and the whole war situation. So hey, look, I'm not gonna have a stake in this, but I will say that I hope that Melissa Barrera she hopefully she doesn't get blacklisted or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. Hopefully she can stay working in Hollywood and continue because a lot of stuff like this can really hurt someone's career. Hope Jenna Ortega is also good too because there's a lot of rumors going on about how does she feel about the whole Palestine-Israel conflict and all other stuff. So overall, I just want to say the Scream 7 reboot, it just it's a shame, man, because now they were gonna supposed to start shooting. I think like next month. Like they usually
Yeah.
release Scream like every other year, But now they have to start from ground zero and write a whole new story and cast a whole bunch of cast characters because you're not going to bring the other supporting characters
You
over. I
can't.
doubt
Then
you.
how are you going to make
You
the
can't.
excuse why the two main characters aren't there now? And
Are not
it's
there.
not
Exactly.
it's going to be a lame excuse. They're going to try to like
Yeah.
throw all the money at Nev Campbell back just to get her just to like maybe make an appearance and put her in a trailer, or like any other legacy character just to like try to
Or
appease some fans.
they just wash it all together and just don't do a Scream 7.
I was gonna say like
That's probably a better idea.
just wait like a couple of years, like 5-10 years, let it die down, and then come back with a new story and just go from there.
The only way they
fun.
can save this is apologize and say we were wrong. We're going to bring our main characters back, and then everyone will forgive them, and then I'll be right
That's
there
true.
opening night. But they're not going to do
Because
that.
they have the script, they have the story. All they gotta
see.
do is say, "Hey, we apologize." We'll see how it goes, but yeah. So that's the podcast, y'all. Hopefully, everything turns out well for the Scream 7. I don't know. Malcolm says he's not gonna go watch it. I probably won't watch it either because just in solidarity.
I'm
But yeah,
boycotting.
so let me know y'all thoughts down in the comment section. If you're watching YouTube, if you're on the audio version like Spotify, Apple, or Amazon, leave us 5 stars. Again, I'll put the timestamps down in the video below. Anyway, disrespectfully speaking, I'm James. There's Jason and Malcolm, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.